AATBirds Weekly Report is the Eagle news, notes, and analysis you need. All about the birds, all birds, all the time.
And welcome to the AATBirds Postgame Recap. Eagles are 1-0. Wasn't pretty. A lot going on. We have a lot to discuss tonight. Matt, well, tonight we're recording, but it's going to be dropped, of course, Saturday morning. But a lot to get into. The Eagles edged the Dallas Cowboys 24-20. In a game that had a lot. There was spitting, there was storms, there was, survival. And that's what the title of it is, SpitGate, storms, and survival. And the Eagles edging out the Cowboys. A tough game to start off with the divisional opponent. Getting the win, is always a good. Like, my main thing, too, is, people say, well, it was a sloppy game and everything. The Friday night game is sloppy as well. So it happens the first month of the season. Unfortunately, it's just the way that it is. But Eagles go away with the victory, and we've got a lot to discuss.
It was a weird game. I was there. I was at the game, as I am for most home games, and it was just overall, it was just like a weird vibe. Like the fans, we were all into it. Obviously, it's Dallas week. There's a lot of hype. But the energy in the stadium to start that game was really strange. With the ejection and the season-ending injury to Van Sumeren, which was pretty apparent on the first kickoff. I mean, all of this happened in the first 6 seconds of the game. And then you have the weather delay, which is unusual. I don't know that I've experienced that for a football game before. It has happened in the past, and we can get into that, but it was just overall just a weird game. The flags were flying for seemingly in one way and not the other. I don't think we deal well with this ref, whoever this guy is. Same guy who threw C.J. Gardner-Johnson out last year for being punched in the face. Just overall, it's a weird vibe. It's a different team. There's a different vibe. It's not completely different, but it's definitely, there was a different energy in the stadium yesterday. And
listen, it has to do a lot with, as you mentioned, the BVS injury, and then of course the Jalen Carter incident. And I don't want to get too much into the incident's been kind of like regurgitated so many times all over the place. And I think he should have never did what he did, provoked or not. You got to be smarter than that, because if, you look at it, it's a team game. You're hurting your team. Now you're in the locker room. You're essentially, it's like you being suspended a game. And the thing is, they have 4 defensive tackles now. So now you have a Jordan Davis and a Moro Ojomo who they both play almost 90% of the snaps. And then you have Gabe Hall. Gabe Hall is playing his first career NFL game. And then Byron Young, who didn't play any games last year, has to come in and play some meaningful snaps. So it's a lot that has to happen. And the whole game plan changes. And you see that early on as the Cowboys are going down the field, because it's a whole shift of what that you can do. And, Jalen Carter's not being double teamed because he's not on the field. So they double team Moro Ojomo, and they do different things. And the defense struggled a little bit before they kind of got their balance, and they, had some, the second half essentially, and the ending after the delay, they looked a lot better. They looked a little bit more of what you saw of last year. But it was great to see Jordan Davis do what he did. He really stepped up, and he played well. I wish he would have gotten Dak one of those times. That's the one thing maybe you want to see more of, is the defense and the edges and defensive line finishing some of those rushes, because Josh Uche really stood out to me. Like, watching him play, it's like, okay, looks like the 2022 version is there.
Yeah.
He was able to, split the O-line. They was able to do some different things and get around the edge. Yes, he didn't get any sacks or anything like that, but he was causing some havoc in there. So
good pressure.
That was great to see.
In Uche, I have it in my notes. He had a really nice pop on special teams too, where I thought that was really cool to see, especially as a new player that wants to be a starter. Right? He's come in. I think he's accepted his rotational role, and that selfless personality of the team, where it's team over individual stats, right? And he went there and he's playing special teams. And he comes up with a huge hit on kickoff against a tough special teams team. I mean, the Cowboys have one of the better special teams units in the league. So it was nice to see. I know that was one of our keys to victory. Getting into special teams. I thought they overall were a lot better than what we expected to see based on. I thought the coverage was all pretty good. Granted, there were a couple muffed kicks there by Turpin, specifically in the second half. But I thought the coverage was really good. They were hustling to the football. There were some nice pops there by guys like Uche, like Sidney Brown had a couple nice hits there. Shipley had a couple nice hits, as he usually does.
Which I think he hurt himself on one of his or something. So
ribs. But more than just that, I want to give big props to who I think was an unsung player in the game, and that's Braden Mann.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
He had a hell of a game. He only had 3 punts, but those 3 punts went for 146 yards, 48.7 average. And if you saw those punts, man, they were. If we were in the Cowboys Stadium, they would have hit the jumbotron. I mean, he was booting those. The hang time was excellent on those. Gave our guys a chance to get down there in coverage. But not only that, but he had 2 of his 3 punts down inside the 20. And again, not only just inside the 20, but he's nailing these coffin corner punts and keeping the ball away from Turpin, because Turpin is a dangerous return man. And one of the reasons why we listed a key to the game as special teams, because he can be an X factor.
Yeah. And I think another thing too to point out here is Jahad Campbell. He's the real deal. Like watching him play, being able to run that Tampa 2, run all the way, getting that deflection on the tight end, running, up the seam there. And then in the second half, I know you had mentioned it on X about him coming and playing on the outside there to kind of shore up the edge there, because I know they were able to kind of get out and, do some different things early in the game. And then they kind of just totally stopped it. And listen, also shout out to Zach Bond. The guy's not a fluke. He's doing what he did last year. And then
running Miles Sanders down from behind. Yeah.
The Miles Sanders play was unreal. And it's funny because, Miles breaks it and I'm like, shit. Because I thought he was gone, because, we've seen that where he just takes it and goes, and then Zach gets it. And then he tries punching at it. I'm like, man,
just make a tackle.
And the funny thing, but the funny thing was when he did that, I thought to myself, and I'm like, man, I could really use a Miles Sanders fumble. And that's what I thought in my head. Yeah. And then of course you have the later on in that drive, you have the Reed Blankenship penalty, which kind of sucked, because it's like, what do you do? It's like I understand the call.
It was unintentional. It was unintentional.
But if you hit the guy in the head, no matter where on your body it hits them, they're gonna call it, unfortunately. But then the next play they get the fumble, and then Dak's there to trip up Quignon, or else he's gone and scores. But that was a massive play.
The ultimate ball don't lie move.
Byron Young. Yeah. So listen, the defense had some early moment struggles. I think both defenses struggled early and then kind of got their feet set in there a little bit. But I love what I saw from Jahad Campbell. Makuba,
well, let's touch on Campbell for a second. Just to give some stats to that performance, 88.3 PFF grade, 3 tackles, 1 pass defense. You noted his ability to cover 30 yards.
Did he get the forced fumble, or did Byron Young get the forced fumble?
He did get the forced fumble.
Okay.
but that pass defense was on a Tampa 2, which is unusual for Vic, to say the least. I mean, it's not to say that they don't run cover 2. They're typically a quarters or cover 1 or 3 team, but they ran cover 2 a lot yesterday.
Adoree Jackson runs a cover nobody.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that, but for those of you who are listening who don't know what the cover 2 or the Tampa 2 is, cover 2 specifically is where the safeties take the deep halves. Your corners are typically responsible for the flats, curls, and then your middle linebacker in a Tampa 2 will and Derek Brooks made this famous.
I was going to say that Derek Brooks. Yeah. That's why it's called you have the Tampa 2 because they ran. Yeah.
So in the Tampa 2, your middle linebacker, there's a lot of pressure and responsibility on that because he has to cover the middle of the field. Yeah. And he has about a 30-yard responsibility within the field. And their job is literally to start in the middle of that defense and sprint back 15, 20, 30 yards to cover whatever may come at those seams. And the reason a lot of people don't run it is because you got to have a rangy linebacker who can do it. Bond is the only other guy I've seen do it in Philadelphia, at least for the last couple years. Jahad Campbell did it and did it well, had a huge pass breakup against Ferguson. Really, really impressive for a rookie linebacker to come in and do that. So I did want to give him props on that because that was pretty impressive to watch. I know you were getting into Makuba. He played in some sub packages. He was in there in dime. He was in there in nickel for a little bit. He did play in base for a while Sid was down, since he knocks himself out every other week.
Yeah,
he's fun to watch, but it's like he's also not fun to watch. Because like one of these days he's going to kill himself or someone else. Like I respect the hustle, but he needs to hone it in a little bit, rein it in. But I thought Makuba played really well. I mean, he had 4 tackles in his first start. I felt like he was always kind of around the ball. So I was impressed by the 2 rookies in particular. I have that in my notes. And then I do want to give a shout out to Jordan Davis, man.
Yeah,
I know you touched on this a little bit in the beginning with those 2 pressures that were almost sacks. But he had 6 big tackles, a tackle for a loss. I think they should have given him credit for more than 1 tackle for loss. Got his hand on a couple footballs. He was just disruptive and played in the most snaps that he's ever played in his professional career. So huge props to him for getting himself in condition to do that, right? In a position where he could play expanded snaps and play an expanded role. He took it very seriously. He's obviously in a contract year, or he's in the final year of his rookie deal. And he took it seriously. He stepped up to the plate, and when Carter went down, he was like, "Listen, I got this." And so I was big props to him. One thing I did notice on the sideline, which I thought was pretty cool, was after Carter went down and they had that first drive where the Cowboys drove down the field and scored. Sirianni went over to every single defensive tackle. Now, granted, that's only 4 at that point, but he went up to every single one of those guys, gave him a hug, dapped him up, and was like, "You got this. Like, we believe in you." You could see that he was picking them up and telling them that it's up to them to be the next guys up. And it was just really cool to see that culture live, because I don't know that they show that on TV, but real big props to Sirianni and like how he preps these guys to just be the next man up and have that mentality at all times.
So you mentioned the like the defensive tackles and all that. I want to bring up something here on Byron Young. And as you know, he was on IR most of the year last year. And there's something here. I wanted to bring it up because I saw it was posted.
He almost had a pick last night.
He did.
He's got some athleticism. All these D tackles got have some athleticism to him. But that was a really impressive play. I thought he was going to come up with it.
I gotta try and find it because
we got to get Byron Young and we got to get Quinyon Mitchell on the jugs machine.
Quinyon definitely. How many has he dropped?
Dude,
He's dropped a lot.
I don't know who it was. I saw a tweet today, and I'll see if I can find it and give him credit here. But
okay, here it is.
Quinyon's going to finish his career with 900 pass breakups and 3 picks.
That's pretty good. So awesome. Zach Berman on X posted, "This has been an emotional offseason." And this is in regards to Byron Young. This has been an emotional offseason for Young. His father passed away suddenly in March. He earned a spot on the Eagles 53-man roster this summer with his father in mind. He goes, "I only went home for a week because this is my job and this is what I love doing." He said, "And I know if he was here, he would have told me, all right, you can cry a little bit, but go ahead and get back to work," because that's the kind of man he was. That's kind of what I try to carry every single day, just to be the same person every single day, no matter what happened yesterday. I know that he's watching down on me. This past year has been a difficult year. There's been a lot of stuff that people might not know that is going on, man. But for me, just to persist through it all and remain the same person works every single day. That's the kind of man I want to be. And that's when I have kids eventually, that's what I want them to be. And that's the example I want to be for anybody who's watching me. So it's been tough, man, but making the team, it's all been worth it. And that's a great story if you think about it. That's a great little tidbit that Zach had put out there about Byron Young. And it's like, he's making the most of his opportunity. And he did well in preseason. We saw him flash. And that's a big reason, too, that Thomas Booker was able to be available because of, they drafted Ty Robinson. And then you have a guy like Gabe Hall step up, and then a guy like Byron Young, who, all these guys are young. And the opportunity to be able to come in there basically being undermanned and being able to make some plays. And he was in on that tackle with the forced fumble, and he almost had that interception. And, for him, it's, those are some great building blocks for a guy, came out of Alabama, was drafted, I believe he was drafted in the 3rd round by the Raiders, and just didn't live up to his potential and was waived, and the Eagles claimed him. And, the Eagles had him on basically IR almost all last year. But he was able to learn, able to grow essentially. And, listening and reading that, I think that's awesome. And I just wanted to bring that up when you started talking about him. But
no, that's awesome.
Let's get to Adoree Jackson before. I don't want to get into the signing yet, because I want to bring that up with kind of the inactives and everything, and get into that after we talk about the offense, kind of go about that. But I want to talk about Adoree Jackson, then kind of get to the offensive side of the ball. But
dude, we're going to have a whole second show on Adoree Jackson.
Let's just make it quick, because this is what I want to say. Jacorian Bennett needs to be starting next week in Kansas City.
Dude,
it's just that simple.
I honestly, I don't care if they roll out a corpse at this point. It's got to be someone other than Adoree. There's no so I really struggle with this.
When they signed him, I was like, okay, we'll see what it has. And you right away were like, ew. Yeah. Like from the start. Like sometimes I'm too optimistic and kind of like, okay, well, let's see. But at this point,
there's a reason that Vic was like nobody wanted him. Like, how bad does Ringo have to be for like Adoree to be the guy? Like we saw similar struggles in the preseason. Like Adoree and Ringo had similar struggles, but there's no possible way that Ringo and Bennett are worse than Adoree. I'm sorry. And the other thing that the thing that I struggle with is like Vic. I love Vic, I really do, but he obviously gives the corners some sort of directive that says it's your choice whether you play on the man or give them cushion. And I'm sure there are times where he's like, "Hey, we're up by 30. We're up by 30 points." Did you watch
Bennett when he came in?
Bennett was up in the guy's face the whole time.
They did get called with a a pass interference, which I think kind of was like a bang bang because the guy
Everybody
turned when he
got
had
called.
literally, yeah.
But see, that's my problem, and like you could tell I'm really fired up about this. Like, I would rather you give up 3 catches for 20 yards, which is what Jacorian Bennett did. Now, granted, he was playing in kind of a prevent, keep them in bounds defense because they wanted to burn the clock out. They wanted to burn those timeouts, which ultimately proved to be smart. So I give him a pass on that, but I would rather a corner give up 3 passes for 20 yards and be in the dude's hip pocket and be aggressive and make mistakes than be 15 yards off the ball in 3rd and 2 and give him an easy completion. I mean, it was literally pitch and catch the entire day on whoever was on Adoree. And it got to the point where Vic was like, you know what? We're going to have to travel with him because Adoree, you suck.
Yeah, he just
Vic may be loyal to a fault. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's like, hey, listen, I gave Adoree the starting nod. So like, I'm going to
look how long they had Avante in there last year. And you could tell he just,
but that was because Cooper wasn't ready. Jacorian Bennett can play. Like, you can see it. Just, if you have to, keep it simple. Run cover 3 the whole damn time. Like, I don't care. Adoree Jackson should be placed on injured reserve for sucking. I mean, he was by far the worst player on the field yesterday.
He just wasn't good.
I feel bad. Like, he's a professional. I get it. He's probably the best football player that I've ever met, if I ever met him. I get that. Like, he's an all-world athlete, but he's just not. He's getting paid to not suck, and he sucks. And we saw it in the preseason. We saw it in camp. It's not really a surprise, but it's infuriating because Jacorian Bennett and Ringo, I think I would say it like this. I would be better off, and I would feel better about them struggling because they're younger and they're going to be more aggressive and they're going to earn their lumps. This is Adoree Jackson. He's not getting any better.
He turns 30 in 2 weeks. So he's not young.
He's not going to get any better. Like, this is who he is. This is who he has been over the last couple of years. He may give you a play or two. I mean, he had one good play that I can think of, and that was that pass breakup that was almost picked by Byron Young. So like, there's no way that you can roll him out there against Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs tomorrow. They're going to pick him apart. Now, granted, Pat Mahomes he looks like poo-poo tonight. But again, it's week 1 and it's a week-by-week matchup league. You cannot roll out Adoree Jackson anymore unless it's on special teams or the inactive list. He's just not worth the roster spot. And that may be a gross overreaction in week 1. And sure, if it is, I'm guilty of it. But like, we've seen it for the last 3 months. And like, it's not a surprise, but it's still infuriating. Yeah. Sorry. That's end of my
I don't disagree with you there. And we've said multiple times how I had said that I didn't think Ringo was going to start. He wasn't going to be the guy and everything like that. At this point, it's like, could Ringo have been any worse? Like it comes to that. Like, maybe I kind of wish I was wrong and didn't say that, and like hope that maybe he did get the nod, because would he have really been as bad? But
wouldn't you feel a little bit better? Like, I wouldn't be as pissed if I was like, oh, my 23-year-old 4th round pick.
Yeah, not a 29-year-old, soon to be 30-year-old, 1 year free agent.
He's like, my 23-year-old 4th round pick is making mistakes in his first year as a starter. I can live with that, but at least he's pressing. At least he's aggressive. At least he's making tackles in the run game. Like, Adoree Jackson was literally falling backwards in the run game. Jimmy Kemsky put up a cut up that I almost spit my coffee out this morning watching it, because he literally fell backwards trying to tackle someone. And it's like,
that was bad.
I can live with my 23-year-old rookie making his first career start. I can live with Jacorian Bennett, who I don't even know how old he is. How old is he?
Jacorian Bennett, I think he's 25.
Yeah, so 24, 25, whatever he is, he's 25. I can live with my 25-year-old corner that I just traded for. I can live with him making mistakes because he's aggressive. He's close to the ball. Adoree Jackson was just like trailing routes. Like that's what he was. That's all he did. He didn't make any tackles. He wasn't efficient in the run game. Like at least stick your nose in there and put your hat on a ball. He didn't do it. There was no positive from this, and there's no upside to starting him. And you're not protecting anyone else.
At this point, to
roll
me, it's just
Ringo
like,
out there, roll Bennett out there. I can live with that. I can live with these guys getting their lumps. I cannot live with watching Adoree Jackson play football ever again.
Yeah,
Ever.
I just don't see the fit anymore. And with the way Vic's comments, we'll see how it all goes.
I feel bad. I feel like one of those guys that's like grossly overreacting in week one, but like I don't feel like I'm alone in this. And again, I'll keep saying it. I can live with younger guys making mistakes. I cannot live with this guy being a career shitty player on my team.
Yeah,
I
we'll
told
see.
you we did another show.
Yeah, we'll see what comes next. Now let's get to the offensive side of the ball here.
Well, one more thing on the defense. Amazing second half. 0 points.
0 points.
0 points. They shut it down at the end of the game. They were aggressive. And every one of those drops that CeeDee Lamb had, he had 3 or 4 drops. If you rewatch them, every single one of them was a drop because Reed Blankenship or Sidney Brown or Makuba or one of the corners was about to take his head off.
Yeah.
Like they were aggressive. They were flying. They made sure that every single one of these receivers second guessed trying to catch that ball or living another day and eating solid food for the next month.
Yeah.
Like this, I loved it. I loved it. And like that wasn't all on CeeDee Lamb. That defense forced him to play like that. So big props to the defense for clamping it down in the second half.
The offensive side of the ball, Hurts really
good transition.
In the first half was the offense. Saquon had a nice run. He was, getting some nice runs in there. Jalen was taking things into his own hands, going 2 rushing touchdowns. Barkley had a rushing touchdown. Weren't really passing the ball all that much. Dallas was run some different coverages, everything like that. But, he had a great throw to Dotson. There's some nice throws there and everything. And listen, nothing's going to be perfect. You're not going to throw for 300 yards and rush for 200 yards. Like this isn't college football. Like you don't have that all the time. Didn't turn the ball over, which is key. It's huge. And, AJ only had 1 target for 8 yards, 1 catch for 8 yards. Devontae only had 3 catches for 16 yards. Dallas was involved more in the little short routes in the middle of the field.
He had 7 catches, and I'm pretty sure most of those went for first downs.
Yeah. So, like, for me, could the offense have been better? Absolutely. No doubt about it. It could have been better. But at the end of the game, they had it back in their hands, and they made it happen. And Jalen went for the first down to ice that game to stop it. So Dallas didn't get the ball back because your defense had stopped them twice before, and you just needed to run that clock out and do what you needed to do. And they did.
I think the backup running backs had some really nice runs. I mean, Shipley,
we don't know which Shipley, like the injury. Hopefully it's not too severe and everything. I know AJ Dillon had a couple nice runs. I liked seeing that. I love
Dillon showed a little more burst than I expected, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he did show
I don't know if it showed that way on TV, but in person, he looked like he had some really nice.
That first run, like that first run gave you so much like Jordan Howard vibes. How he just like pushed like a 9-yard run all the way.
Yeah, he looked good. And
Shipley looked nice in the passing game.
That
was such a nice throw in the passing game. He got all the way down. But
he had 3 rushing attempts yesterday for 26 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost 9 yards per rush and 20-yard long.
Yeah.
I mean, if he can stay healthy, that's he's a really intriguing change of pace back from Saquon.
Yeah.
I really hope he can stay healthy. We'll have to wait and see what that injury is with the ribs. He did not come back after that on a special teams play, but I was really encouraged by the backup running backs.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
And Goddard was 7 for 7 for 44 yards. And didn't you have a nice stat about Goddard?
Yeah, Goddard is now top 10 in Eagles history in receptions, which
that's awesome.
If he finishes, so he could actually probably reach the top 5 after this year, be like another, I think, 35 to 40 catches. He'll be in the top 5 in Eagles history in receptions.
Entirely possible. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a cool thing to see for him and in his Eagles career. But I think the offense just they're going to need to get it going. We know that. They could have put more points on the board, and it just both offenses after that delay kind of shot themselves in the foot. They just didn't play well, but both opposing defenses kind of clamped down and able to kind of get their bearings and essentially had another extended halftime to kind of game plan for what they've been seeing. So it kind of had that as well.
They did a really good job, and I haven't watched the all 22 or the film on this, but like they did a really good job of shutting down the big three. Right. And I think that's one of the reasons why we thought, again, one of the keys to game would be Dallas Goedert in the middle of that defense. Like you said, AJ had 1 target for 8 yards. Smitty had 3 for 16. Saquon was held to under 4 yards per carry. He did have a nice TD and had a couple nice, game drive changing runs, but relative, for his standards, relatively quiet against the defense that we thought we'd be able to run on. So I thought the Cowboys, I thought Eberflus had a really nice game plan. And I think their front 7 played a lot better than I thought they were going to play.
And end of the game, when Landon goes out and you have Toth in there, you see they struggle to run it up the middle there. There was no push, and that's tough.
Yeah.
Hopefully Landon is good. I know he's been dealing with the back thing and it kind of got him. So
yeah, Landon's a guy that I don't usually worry about with injuries. I feel like, knock on wood here, but like he's one of those guys that leaves the game and then comes back the next week and he's good. But
hopefully that is the case. But
you don't want to mess around with back injuries. So we hope he's all right.
Yeah, exactly. So that was tough to see the injury there for him because it kind of threw a little bit in terms of your run game. I thought they should have did a little bit different things in terms of running, not just trying to plow up the middle because Dallas was literally loading the box with 8-9 guys essentially, and you weren't going anywhere.
I feel like if you have Toth in there at right guard or left guard, my general thought is it probably behoove them to get him on the move. And get him pulling and in space because he's athletic, rather than man up against Kenny Clark. Like that's
or Diggy Zua and stuff like that.
Yeah, like probably not your move. I feel like, to your point, I feel like they should have maybe gotten him on the move and gotten him in space and try to take advantage of his athleticism. I we'll have to see. We'll have to see how he, meaning Dickerson, rebounds from that. But I thought overall, Hurts looked really calm.
Yeah.
He looked a lot faster than I anticipated. He looked faster than last year. Maybe closer to how he looked in the playoffs when he's a little bit healthier. Now, talking about different things in the run game, one of the things we were really excited about seeing was Ben Van Sumerman.
Yeah.
Ben Van Sumerman.
Just go BVS. We know you're talking about.
BVS. Yeah, I'm running on like 2 hours of sleep because of last night. But I was really excited to see BVS, and I was thinking that a fullback would be a big part of this offense, and I got a feeling that there were going to be some fun packages for him.
Yeah.
Now Granson did a pretty admirable job, I think, filling in for that H-back role. He's got the athleticism to do it. He actually had a couple of really nice wham blocks that we would typically see from BVS. Do you think we add a fullback? Do you think it's that, like last year BVS went down and they went out and got an actual fullback. They went out and got Blassingame. I think he would be an option there potentially. He already knows the offense. He's a free agent. You could probably get him on the practice squad, but like, do you think they explore that, or a guy like Carson Steele, who's on the Kansas City practice squad, who's also a pretty damn good kick returner? Do you think they explore something like that, or do you think they roll with Granson as their H-back tight end 3 special teams guy?
So there's also there's one more, I believe.
Klein Saucer,
free agent. No.
bring back Mike Allstott. Klein Saucer.
Bring back Mike Allstott. There you go.
Dude, I'd be in. Lorenzo Neal, I bet he's still got it.
Listen, you can't go too, like, these guys are beat up. You can't go.
John Ritchie, he's local.
Too much in that. There's a guy. Let me see.
What's Cecil Martin up to? What about Stanley Pritchard or Stanley Havili? You want to just keep naming fullbacks? Stan Kleckner.
So we have
Kyle Eckel.
Yeah, that guy's a lot of these guys are on, like Adam Prentice is on the Denver Broncos practice squad. A lot of these guys are on like practice squads.
Yeah. Carson Steele, you brought up Carson Steele in our chat, and
that's a guy that I would definitely go for. That, to me, that's a guy I would target because, like, to me, he screams like football player. Like, he does a lot. Like, he'll play special teams, kick returner. He can run the ball if you need him to run a couple. Like, he did it last year. He's
averaging almost 28 yards a kick return.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy. Like, he's not as big as Van Sumeren or Blassingame. Like, he's not 240s, 245, but he's 230, 6 foot, 230. So that's a guy that, but you'd have to get him to your 53. It's how you have to do that. You can't, like, Blassingame, you can just sign the practice squad, which, again, I wouldn't put it past them to do that. Especially when you look at the moves.
Probably the route they go.
Like, they made 2 moves today, 2 separate moves. They added Javon Baker to the practice squad that it's been mentioned for a couple days now. He's been added to the practice squad. And they let go of APR, Antoine Power Island, which interesting. And you said it was kind of interesting too. It's like, he's a developmental edge. Surprised you wouldn't want to keep him on there. So it's, to me, that's interesting.
Or at least prevent him from exposing to waivers. I mean, he already went through once, so maybe they're not concerned about it. But I feel like you could have gotten rid of like Marshall or like a vested veteran that you can have kind of a handshake deal with. So Blassingame's not much bigger than Carson Steele. He's only 6 foot 233.
Okay.
Steele's 6 foot.
I thought he was in 240.
Yeah, I thought he was too for whatever reason. My problem with Blassingame is Blassingame. My problem with him is I don't recall him being very prolific on special teams.
So,
and that's the thing with BVS is like he's a demon. So like I feel like if you're going to add someone, especially the 53, it's got to be someone that gives you that extra dimension on special teams, which is why Carson Steele would be a dream.
Now, I'm not saying they're going to add him because he's on the practice squad. So maybe you elevate him a couple games. Cameron Latu, he was pretty good on special teams. You can have Granson doing that H-back. He'd be essentially he can't.
Why not just bring up E.J. Jenkins and let him be a blocking tight end?
So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. It's something that's going to be a very interesting aspect.
There's obviously and sorry to interrupt you, but there's obviously a desire either from the coaching staff or from Saquon, or just a preference, an overall preference or comfortability. I don't know what it is, but there's something there, and it may be both the coaching staff and Saquon that says we like running out of formations with a fullback. It gives us that extra dimension. So the fact that they went out and got a guy after BVS went down last year indicates to me that they really do want a fullback, at least for sub packages. So to your point,
Steele thing would be interesting because as the Eagles today added Zadarius Smith, the veteran free agent who played with the Lions and Browns last year, he'll be 33 years old and had 9 sacks last year.
Yeah.
And of course they put BVS on IR. That's how they got him on the 53. But now you have a plethora of edge rushers, and you did have inactive Azeez Ojulari and Obo, the G is silent, I think. Obo Okoronkwo were both inactive. I could see one of those. I could see Okoronkwo being let go and then maybe trying to get him on the practice squad, and that's why maybe APR's like – and I know he's 30 years old, so it's kind of – but he's a vested veteran. You can just get him right on the practice squad, as some insurance there. But Zadarius Smith brings you into that 4-man rotation, which is great because you need – you have him, you have Nolan, you have Jalix, and you have Uche. I like that. The quad guys.
Yeah.
I don't know how you say 4
quad.
Quartet. I like that. There you go.
I agree with you. I think he gives you that BG dimension, right? That a little bit more of a prototypical body there at the edge. More of a 4-3 defensive end build that we're used to, as opposed to these smaller speed balls off the edge. I don't want to get into BG, but like he fits that mold, right? I think he's gonna play that role, and I think he can come in and contribute right away. It's really really interesting move. I think they need it after seeing last night. Now, granted, sacks will come and they will come in bunches. We saw that last year. We started slow. It'll take time, but I think this move will give you immediate impact and immediate ROI as the young guys get their feet wet and get a little bit more accustomed to starting.
And we're going to get more into it as on Thursday, we're going to be doing our preview show of the week 2 matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs next Sunday. So we're going to get into that. We're trying to work on getting a guest, a Kansas City Chief podcaster guest, to kind of break down the Chiefs and everything as they are playing against the Chargers. So they both our games are basically finishing up before all the games on Sunday. But the Eagles got the win, and we will be back to preview the week 2 matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. But as we always end it with a very special and very joyful Go Birds.
Go Birds.
This is Matt Ware. Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey, Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the bird.
All birds all the time. All birds all the time.
All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.